Hi, I'm Carlene Lehmann. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and also the owner of Relationships Matter Austin. I work with a lot of individuals, couples, and families, and I see a lot of teens, and I have a background of working with teenagers in the school system. A lot of kids that needed more behavior support, helping to regulate their emotions, and just being able to work through the school day because it was really intense for them. And so I wanted to talk about how to help your teenager through this time. So we've been in this COVID-19 global pandemic for several weeks now. And what I'm noticing with my adolescent clients and with their parents, right, is that we're all getting tired. So some of us are completely exhausted because we've been trying to carry on and form a new routine, and every day is different, and we don't quite know exactly how long this is going to last. And so that can be really draining to not know. Our brains as humans, we like to know. And when we don't, it becomes unsettled. So we're going to have to give it some things to help it during this time. So I wanted to talk about what's going on for a lot of our teenagers, right? Some may be enjoying this time off from school. For a lot of my clients, school, they're very high achievers, and school was very stressful because they had a lot of things that they were juggling. So some of them are having a nice time of doing school at their own pace. Many of them get it done pretty quickly, but then there's a lot of downtime. And so some, are able to talk with friends and video with them, and some, aren't. So I wanted to talk about some things that you can do to help support your teenager during this time. So one thing that is so important to kids at this age is their peer group. And it is really important for them to be able to keep up that connection. So whether that's talking on the phone, or now with technology, we can FaceTime, we can Zoom. There's even ways to play games through these formats. And so it is important to allow our teens time to talk to each other. This idea of like school, how it was before, of going all day long, it's different now, right? We can't expect our kids to be focused on schoolwork for the 8 hours a day, and they need breaks. And even in that school day, there were breaks, and they were able to socialize with their friends. So it is important for us to help them have that time and have those means to communicate, which a lot of them do have, right, with the smartphones and laptops and such, right? Another thing is that really important is to meet our kids where they're at. So this is changing all the time, right, for all of us. We can have our feelings shift rapidly. We could feel, excited, and then, the next hour we could feel sad, and then we can feel exhausted, and, so there's a lot going on right now. So we really need to meet our kids where they're at, not expect them to be any certain way, right? And if you have more than one kid, they're not all going to be the same. So that is a challenge, right? Those of us that have more than one kid, but you have to meet each one of them where they're at. Sometimes they're wanting to play a game, right? And they're wanting to engage. Other times they're needing a break, right? They might need a nap. They might need to go and be outside for a little bit, go shoot some hoops, right? Or maybe they do need to take some time to listen to some music or watch a TV program that they like. And we need to allow them this space so they can start to figure out what they need, and that we trust them to know, that they're figuring this out too for themselves. So many of our middle school and high schoolers haven't had a lot of free time. They've been very scheduled, and so it's different than when most of us grew up, right? For a lot of us, we probably had a lot of time where we could, that was unstructured, where we could go and play and may not even have needed to be home, until lunch or dinner. Well, for this generation, it is different. And so it's just going to take some time. But I think there's a lot of strength and beauty in this moment, because they're going to grow up and graduate from high school. They're going to get a job. They're going to go to college, and they're going to have more free time. So why not use this as a time to let them have some space to start to figure out, right, how to manage. And a lot of times they can teach us, right? Some days my kids are more into joking, and that's really a blessing for me, right? To have their energy. And yes, it can get old, right? We can get tired of it. But I think if we can remind ourselves, like, hey, this could be different, right? That they're here and they're wanting to engage with us is important, and to take that time with them. Another thing that it's really important is to validate their experience, to let them know that we get it, that we understand that this is a hard time, and we're all in this together, and we're all learning, and kind of humble ourselves as parents, right? That, we're not the expert, right? And that we're figuring out how to adjust. Sometimes, we've had ways of dealing with our self-care that aren't accessible, right? We might have gone and got a massage, or we might have gone to the gym, right? Or a group workout. And we're having to figure out how to do this more on our own, through the technology. I do see that a lot is being done to have those meetings on Zoom or other platforms. That's good. It's good. But sometimes we're going to have to figure out how to address these needs in a new and different way. And that can be stressful, and it can be frustrating, and that, that we get if our kids are having those same feelings too, right? And to be understanding. Like, of course you're frustrated, and of course you're annoyed that, the prom has been canceled, and you're not going to be able to go, and that you can't go to school every day with your friends and see them, and this sucks. This is hard, right? And really validate that for them. A thing that I like is when Brene Brown talks about the difference between sympathy and empathy. She talks about sympathy is like, oh yeah, we get you're having a hard time, or, but empathy is really being in that experience. And so with them, and that's what I'm talking about with the validating, right? Letting them know that we get it. She has this great video where it shows the person down in a hole, and they're stuck there, and where the person can really relate what it's like to be in the hole with them. That's what I'm mentioning, what I'm talking about here. Really being with our kids in the experience. And then, letting them know that we're here, right? We're here for them, that, if they need a shoulder to cry on, if they need to get angry, that they can come and vent to us, that they're not alone, that we are here for them, And, if they want to play a game or want to bake a cake, or, that there's things that we can do that together, right? But I think, to allow them that space to come back to us once we've told them that we're available and we're there for them, not to force that, right? Not to force certain things to happen, but to give them this space, and they can come back to us and they can let us know. So it's a hard time for all of us, and there's some things that I just really wanted to share based on what I'm seeing with the clients that I'm working with, because I have seen their demeanor change, right, throughout these weeks and us working together. And there's times where they have become, kind of more withdrawn, right? Like the kid that I would see, that could laugh and joke with me, they weren't doing that, for a particular week or two. And that is totally normal and to be expected in this moment, because it's overwhelming and our body is on a high state of alert, right? And they're be under a lot of tension and stress. And when we hold on to that for a long period of time, then that's what happens, right? We become exhausted. Our body needs a break. And so we withdraw inward in order to give ourselves a break. It's something that we naturally do. And so it is okay, right, if your kid is needing some space. And obviously if, as we go through this, they're gonna shift and change. But if they do need some support with that, let me know, reach out. I'm happy to do that through email, or through an online session. You can reach me at www.relationshipsmatteraustin.com. And my email is Carlene, it's Carlene at relationshipsmatteraustin.com. And I'm happy, to answer questions even through email to help you support your teenagers. Because I have a passion, I'm a parent myself, and to see that, we are there for our kiddos, and sometimes we just don't know exactly what to do, because we're going through a hard time too. And that's where I'm here to help with that. Okay? All right. Well, we're just going to keep moving along, right? One day at a time. That's what I talk about with my clients. We're just going to take baby steps.